Hey, what's up guys? Coach Dino here. It's episode 2 of the little vlog we got going on. If you want a little bit more content, you can follow me on Instagram. I have a story going. I post a lot there. In terms of where we're at for week number 2, we've started our new program. So let's preface by saying there is no magical plan. What you want to do is you want to find a program where you can apply sufficient volume, probably close to 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week, depending on your level of fitness, your goals, and start from there. And then you want to be able to apply more volume throughout the mesocycle. So throughout the month, you want to be able to add more volume, as well as add intensity across some exercises. And then you want to minimize fatigue, so reduce the chance that you'll burn out or overtrain, so to speak, or get injured. So one of the things I've noticed in previous preps is that I tend to get hurt, either through chronic injury or acute strains or sprains, and that's due to, you know, a very long caloric deficit, and I seem to like to train at intensity. So this program that I'm doing, there won't be any sets with less than about 8 repetitions. I'm gonna focus on the 8 to 20 rep range, depending on the exercise. I've split it up so that I'm giving myself more break than I'm used to between my legs. I used to do something like, let's say, push-pull legs, upper lower. This time around, I'm gonna do chest and back, and then legs, and then shoulders and arms, and then upper body again, and then legs. An extra day between the 2 leg training days, different exercises on the back-to-back upper body days. But I'm gonna see how this goes in terms of managing fatigue and also managing injury prevention. So the goal this time around is let's apply a little bit more volume throughout the cycle, the mesocycle, and then add volume week to week. So some exercises go up by 1 set a week or 2 sets a week per muscle group. You know, other muscle groups that may be already sufficiently adapted or are big enough might go up every other week, or I might focus on adding weight or load instead. Other things I might do is slow down the repetition, so increase the time under tension. Whatever it takes to feel like I've worked that muscle group sufficiently. The goal of this bodybuilding prep being to maintain as much muscle mass throughout the prep. So this could be another, 3 to 7 months of prepping. One of the ways we know to maximize muscle retention is to train for growth. So we're going to keep training like we want to grow, except we are just going to be probably maintaining. I might get some initial gains because I'm usually, for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been really training an intensity-based training program for the last couple of years, mixing powerlifting and bodybuilding together. Not saying that I necessarily did anything wrong. I achieved the results I wanted, but I think that this time around I'm using some knowledge I've gained, some insight and experience to kind of minimize fatigue and minimize injury. One of the things people don't realize is that fatigue will carry over from your life, right? So I run a business, we're promoting a bodybuilding show. I've got other things that I do on the side. I have 2 kids, soon to be 3. There's other things outside of bodybuilding, outside of work that I enjoy doing. They all have a fatigue component that can carry over into your training and your recovery, right? So I want to be able to recover sufficiently to come back and continue to grow and maintain throughout this prep. One of the things that people do when they're trying to maintain muscle mass is they reduce volume and increase intensity. There's 2 reasons why that might help, but also hinder. First way it might help is it being a novel stimulus, you might get increase in strength. Also, because you're focusing on higher intensity, you might get a shift in the motor units you're recruiting, so you might use more type 2 muscle fibers. So there's some benefits to that. The downsides being there's a much higher fatigue component to intensity-based training. So I just came off a reduced intensity block or a deload or a taper. I made sure that I kept my intensity lower and my volume a little higher in order to give myself a break. And the second point being avoid injury. So, if you're training balls to the wall, adding volume, decreasing calories, all that kind of stuff, and then you suddenly increase intensity, you might be carrying too much fatigue into the deload that you can't successfully perform some of the exercises in terms of adequate technique for squat or deadlift or bench press. With that added intensity and requirement for force, you may actually injure yourself, which is kind of the opposite of a taper or a deload. So that's kind of where we're at with the programming. So what I'm doing for the nutrition is I'm going anywhere from 4 to 6 low days, so low calorie days, and then anywhere from 3 to 1 maintenance calorie days. My lower calorie days are generally around 1500 calories, and my maintenance calorie days are anywhere from 2000 to 2400, depending on if it's a workout day or a rest day. So if I'm resting, my calories won't go as high as if I really want to, you know, do like a refeed on a workout day. I'll have calories higher and take advantage of the extra carbohydrates and push a little harder during that workout. Protein sits above 200 grams, and then the rest of my calories are made out of my choice of carbohydrates or fats. I try to favor carbs as much as I can, because if you're reducing those carbs, you're definitely going to reduce your performance. In the end, that could have huge decrements for your maintenance of muscle mass or your growth of muscle mass. So maximizing carbs where I can. On the lower days, they might be 150. On the higher days, 225 to 275, somewhere around there. So another important thing with the carbohydrates, if you're constantly restricting carbohydrates all through your prep, and then you want to load up during peak week, you've gone and down-regulated some transporters in the gut membrane. So you're gonna load up on carbohydrates, and then you're gonna have a backlog, right? You're not gonna be able to get them efficiently into the system fast enough, and you get all bloated, but also you tend to not get as full as you would think you would on the same amount of food, right? Goal being there, let's have these refeeds. So the goal being there that we want to keep our transporters healthy, so that when we load up on carbohydrates on show day, we can get them all efficiently into the muscle cell, get nice and full, nice and hard, get lots of water in the cell, and get a nice pump and show off, you know, all that hard work. In terms of where everything else is at, supplements, just caffeine. So what I'm doing is I'm taking coffee in the morning, so a couple of cups of coffee. Midday or pre-workout, usually pre-workout drink of some sort, mostly caffeine based, so as few ingredients as possible, and a caffeine pill. So I hit that anywhere from 300 to 450 milligrams of caffeine. And then in the evening, usually around 5 or 6, depending on when my workout was, I will do another 300-ish milligrams. And what I found is that the extra caffeine just ensures that I keep my NEAT a little higher, so I'm a little bit more active. I find that without the caffeine, I'm sitting a lot because my calories are low, especially because I have the opportunity to sit in front of the computer here and do work, either for the gym or for the clients. So the extra caffeine will help kind of keep me active, keep me moving, hitting my 10,000 steps a day, and allow me to just stay in the caloric deficit, right? So other supplements, just creatine monohydrate. I've pretty much been taking that for 20 years. I forget a lot. If I forget for more than a month, then I'll just load it again and then keep dosing it every day. Other than that, I don't take any other supplements. I might have a whey protein here and there to get my numbers, but in the last few weeks to months, I've been hitting my 220 protein without any whey protein. If I'm looking for a little bit more caloric efficiency closer to the show, I might opt for a whey protein instead of a serving of meat, just because it's going to be lower in calories. But in terms of satiety, I find that whey protein is not nearly as satiating as whole foods. So I will opt for food whenever possible, just because it fills me up. It's slower to eat, it's slower to consume, which again, we know that if you take a little longer to eat, you're going to feel a little bit more satiated, and you're going to get through the diet a little bit better. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Let me know what stuff you want to see next week. Probably do another updated physique check, update if I did any refeeds. It's Easter this weekend, so I hope to eat a little bit more on Sunday, and just keep training. We'll see how the rest of this new program goes. And by next week, I'll try to have a link so that you can download the program for yourself. Thanks again.